We'll finish today, Mr. Shem, the final sheet in Chala. Then, Be'ez Hashem Yisburach, we'll move on to other halakhos and halakhos kashrus. So, when we get next to the halacha of Shala and Chala, to backtrack Chala, the halacha is the Rama paskins. If somebody was mafresh Chala, he cannot decide. No, I don't want to be Chala. Even talk dibur. If he says this is Chala, and then he says no, I don't want to be Chala, talk dibur, it doesn't help, because there's a hegdish, the Brit, which once he said it, it is basically becomes Chala. Now there's a solution. You go to a chacham mimcha, and you make a Torah Sidurim. The same as you do as when you have a neder. You made a neder, you want to be oiked the neder. You go to a chacham, and he should basically dissolve the neder. Is the shchanur shtay could go to a yuchad mimcha. Now, in the post kim shtay shoin that bismaneinu, there's no such thing as yuchad mimcha. That could be oiked a neder by himself, and you have to go to three people. And the three people could also be basically idiotas. You go to three people, and he said, I was mafresh Chala, and I didn't want to be oiked. We're going to see why we want to be oiked. I want to be oiked Chala. It shouldn't be Chala anymore. And the three people ask him for a pesach. That means if you would have known that the situation would be like it is now, would you make this piece Chala? And he answers no. And therefore, I want to be oiked. And then the three people say mutalach three times, or they say three times achala b'tayla. It's no more chala. This is the way how to dissolve chala. Now, what happens after when oiked given the chala? Now the whole thing, whatever you made, is a dough is tevel. It's as if you never took off chala, and now you have to take off chala again, because you made the chala which you took is not chala, so everything became tevel again, and therefore now you have to take off chala again. Now, should you make a bracha when you take off chala again? Is the master do a poiskin lekan and lekan? Some person say you should make even a bracha, because since you didn't take off chala, so now it's the chala. But lamais we paskin, since the haluchas ketanas, the marichagis, and the mikdish ma'at, the hartzvi, the bespaisach, all this, they say that you don't make a bracha again, because they say the bracha which you made then is ke'ili goes on top of this also. So therefore, since even though it's a machlokes, we paskin that you don't make a bracha again. So you take off chala again, because the ikar is the brachas eine ma'akos. So therefore you have to take off chala again. But if you don't make a bracha, so therefore you don't make a bracha. Now again, as I mentioned before, you have to say for the chachumam, I have charata what I did. That means I made chala and I have charata, because again, every neder in order to be oiked, you have to say a pesach charata. So usually the reason, you have to have a reason why you oiked the chala, and you say the reason because I have this reason, therefore I want to be oiked, and there has to be a charata. Steht aber in Shach that ein nishulin, you don't make a chazora on a froshes chala, elu b'mukim tzoyrech. You have to have a good reason in order to backtrack your chala what you did. Now again, even if you don't have a reason and you went to three people and they say chala meteres, b'de'evet it's okay, but they tell us to go to do that, zug shach, we don't do it. It is as if you state in halacha that nidre hegdish and nidre mitzvahs. So this is also neder mitzvah. You made a neder to give chala, so therefore you only do it on you have a good reason. What happens once you made hashola of the chala? So now you made the bracha of Torah, so to speak, because the first time is not chala anymore, but you made a bracha. So do homen it's ochta groise machlokes achroinim. If Bechlal, there are some people which want to say that's why you shouldn't be oike the Haturas Naturim of Chala because the bracha becomes the Vatola. But there are a lot of poiskim which is basically mashma so in the Ritva, in Chulen, in Samsoifer, the Gdila Hegdish, Shlomo Klieger, a lot they say no, it's not the bracha of Vatola. Because since when you made Chala, when you made the bracha, was the mafresh gemein Chala. So basically the bracha went on a mitzvah. You made a mitzvah. Kessels oikerzam. But the time when you did it, hast du get in a mitzvah. So it's this kabbalah vatola. And they bring the ritva, the famous ritva, which lessons learned till time, yeah. So till time. The law is somebody washed for bread, wants to eat bread, and macht ab shekul shurim so it's till time. And then he decided I don't want. Zug the ritva is kabbalah vatola. Because by the time you decided you want to wash for bread, you want to eat, and mitzad you want to eat. Is the halachis you have to make a bracha. So therefore, the bracha was as gemacht, geht of the natila, but the natila is a natila. Achmod, b'shas matzah. So the Chassam Sofer stellt das Tzitz, auch zu der Ritz, the same is also over here. Since when you took challah, you took take challah, it became challah. So hast gemacht a bracha of a sach, was be'etzen tiste. So an idea that you could retract, yeah, as it does the word, retract, kas zirik, oikers on the, so therefore, es ist kein bracha levatula. We'll see when we make the guy lalucha. This is the guy stark lalucha. This is nicht so uncommon such a problem. So again, since we mentioned now that basically challah is you could be oiker challah, and a challah is like a neder, and you could be oiker it. It's like a din, so therefore you have to go to a bezdin of shloisha. But even though it's like a din, all lalucha is like a din. Well, we know that the bezdin does not sit on din belayla. That's the cloud. Belayla, I mean, it's also an apostic. You don't sit within the layla. But you can make a Torah's nedorim at night, and you can make a Torah's challah auch at night. The same is also the law is when it comes to the Torah that the dayanim cannot be cousins kroivim to each other, and they cannot be kroivim to the baladinim. But when it comes to this halacha to be oiker, the neder, you could go to cousins. You could go to kroivim. It's not a problem with kroivim. Now the husband cannot be a part of the bezin. That's not. When the wife wants to be oiker, the challah, the husband is ishte gegifoy. But akaponam kroivim is kusher as zan side kroivim to each other, the dayunim to each other. Inside the dayunim to the guy who is oiker the neder. But they shouldn't have any te'elas shabaduvar. They shouldn't have any te'elas because they have te'elas then it's awesome. For instance, if you want to be oiker challah, yeah, you could go even to your children, but he should not be your bocharam which sits by you Shabbos on the table because it's design the guy. The hatura is the design the guy. If you go to your children which are married, which has nothing to do with this challah, or you're going to somebody who has nothing to do with this challah, that's something else. But if you go to somebody who has a kroivim, which is negaya there for the challah, of them shtayt klur as a matter on challah, the Torah zukt us in Simarash of Ches, which is in Hilchos Nedurim, and the Shachin pas bringing us up. So again, I'm mentioning it because you use a lot your family members to be oiker challah because you're not going to go. You have in the middle of baking challah and something happens. You're not going to go in shul and look around for the people. So sometimes you use your family members. But again, a family member which is part of your immediate family, which they are sitting Shabbos and eating. So therefore, in such a case, is not you shouldn't take it for a bezin.
Will it be a practical example where you
make a Torah Nedurim?
Yeah.
Oh, we're practically very, very simple. Which happens, if not once a year, I had the Shaila, I had it more than 5-10 times at least 1 year. Lady is mafresh challah. Yeah? Mafresh challah given. And as we're going to see soon, the first thing is right away, challah, right away, put it away. Or burn it right away. But no, she did put it aside. Now she makes bilkelach. So now we have bilkelach, a bulka, another bilka. And you took it and you put it, made the challah. So now it's chosgemish. Or sometimes, but not realizing you're taking the challah, you put it back into the dough in the chosgemish challah which you took off, if you don't put it away right away, is a common problem. It should get mixed together. or a child does it, or you yourself, because a lot of people bake bilkas, small challahs, and another small challah. And that's very common. So therefore, b'chalal takazun the poskim, once you take challah, right away, if the people who burn it right away, put it in straightness in silver foil, and put it into the oven, carve it as we mentioned then, or if you put it away in the freezer for Erev Pesach or whatever it should be, put it right away in the bag, which over there is all the fresh challah, because it happens a lot, it should become mixed together. Okay, so now, what happened? You took challah, and it happened such a mistake. And it became mixed together with other dough, or with this dough, or with the second dough. In the bakeries happens also a lot of such things. And now, it's already, and a piece of the dough was that means you baked challah, you took off challah, and by mistake you mixed together the challah with the other challah, the hafrushas challah with the dough. You baked it, and you ate some of that, Nice, Wednesdays when they eat milchiks, and the Shlua Kodesh says that Wednesdays you should eat milchiks. A lot of people, if they bake chalas Wednesday, there are some women who bake challah Wednesday because Thursdays is laundry and Erev Shabbos is small children. So Wednesday, when the Shlu said they eat milchiks, they have a nice, warm, fresh bilkala. Okay, so she baked challah before, and now she ate a bilkala, and then realized, I mean, where's the challah? Where's the challah which I was mafresh? It's part of it, but now part of it is you ate already. Part of it is ate already. Now, what do you do? Now, if it's in the United States of America, that means it's a Keslo. We don't have an issue. As remember, we spoke already that chalas Keslo is one of the things which is different. Chalas Keslo is the chalas Etzrule is chalas Keslo is you could eat and take challah afterwards. As I mentioned, a shala which happens, people remember, oops, I didn't take challah this time. So now it's Shabbos. Shabbos you cannot take challah. That's the cloud. You cannot take challah. So therefore, what do you do now? I want to eat challah, but I didn't take challah. Is the law if it's Khisloret, then you eat the challah, you leave over a piece, then Matzah Shabbos, you slice a piece of that challah which you left over, and you give it for challah. That's challah, and it's all fine. In Etzrule you cannot do that. Lemafraya. Yeah, you can do it lemafraya. So if you have such a thing that you made challah middle of the week and you lost that challah, it's mixed together, and now you ate already, it's not a problem. Then you make a frushas challah. You make a torus nedurim. Then everything becomes stable. But right away afterwards, when you take again a piece of challah, everything becomes lemafraya good. So it's not a problem. So such a case in Chislu is not a problem. Even if it's taken, you ate already in the middle of the week because you lost the challah, it's not a problem. Make a torus nedurim. But in Etzrule, since in Etzrule, if you have such thing in Shabbos, you're doomed. You cannot take challah in Shabbos, and so therefore it's mixed. By the way, you cannot touch it. Challah becomes mixed. You can't do anything with that. And then now, if you're going to make a frushas and it got mixed together, the challah which you mafresh. Now, if you're going to make a frushas a torus nedurim, what happened? You ate already tevel. You ate already tevel. And in Etzrule, you cannot say oichel imafresh achekach. So therefore, the poskim in such a case, you shouldn't do that. You should leave it. You can't make ein yuchel yishul zuk remove. Such a case, ein yuchel yishul. Why? What?
The rest of the dough has to work.
The rest of the dough?
Yeah, because now you have challah mixed in with it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not the oil.
But what? Oh, is oil mahot ashir taka? Oil mahot ashir. Usually he's right. Ma'echtemaya. Usually you're not going to have this shear of echtemaya 100 times. What? May time that you're mafresh. Yeah. May time you're mafresh. Even though we now that not necessarily. Okay, in the chomash roch takzai, Philip is manazeh. But even if maya is too much. So in such a case, Zukman, don't be shoyl on this. Now agam, if you're not going to be shoyl, what happened that you ate challah lemafraya? If you're going to be shoyl, so no. That's for sure that it got mixed together. It's not a sort.
You're saying whether you eat that piece which was part of the challah, whether you definitely ate tevel.
Noch einmal?
If you leave the side cold,
If you are exactly, do the gewollt zikimen. If you are shoyel basically on the first challah, you definitely ate tevel. No question about it. If you are not going to be shoyel, first of all, could be you didn't need it, the challah. And second of all, there are poskim which say challah, I can put our challah now, challah bezman hazeh, is do the shoyel was even zogen sibutel barov. So at least rov for sure you have. In any case, you have rov. So therefore, zogen nach roinam, dus the pshat from the Rebbe. Muzuk al be in shoyel. So the question is, I'm not going to be shoyel. So basically, I ate challah. So the answer is okay. Maybe you ate challah, maybe not. And even if you ate the challah, maybe si gewan butel barov is as verschonen kanisa. If you're going to be shoyel, automatically has to again of isa. So therefore, in such a case, you're not shoyel. Let's say you shouldn't be shoyel. Kessler is what? Nachamol? Nein, sie gewan as mafresh gewen. Sie liegt jetzt du, sie gewan butel. Yeah.
That's only if you didn't eat it, right?
That's only if you ate it. If you didn't eat it, then you can be mafresh. Shoyel, avada. If you ate it, we don't want that you should be over of the Isser of table.
I guess if they are masters, that means that they're real Jason.
What?
If they are masters, that means that the tattoo of being master are real Jason.
Ja. Aber auch viele dort steht, viele Netzesruel, if bei die Ewe das der Schweil gewesen ist, es a Schale. La Masse, if bei die Ewe das Schweil gewesen ist, es a Schale. And then you can eat the rest. If you don't Schweil, now you cannot eat it. But some poskim say that you're not eventually would be this is the Chala, so you have to throw it away. But if you is going to Joitus, in Africa pecan haben sie Schweil gewesen, in them soft but the Ewe is a Schale, and you can eat the rest. Ich steht klug, der Mikdash Maat. Der Chazan nicht masken zu dem, Eveltan, als bei David helft es nicht, aber der Mikdash Maat, was is way before Friediger, sagt, dass bei David is okay, but again, just davon gedenken. Another law which we know is, as we mentioned now, eine Sholem al B'Shabbos. B'Shabbos kann man nicht machen kann, Teures Nadurim, only when it's a Teurich Shabbos. Now, when it's a Teurich Shabbos, you could. And I had already once, I remember what the case was, but it was a case by my Shvenish, I remember. Somebody had a neder, and it must, and sie gehen ganz der Timmel Nadur, aber du sagst, nur noch ein Schnurach. Als if it's a Teurich Shabbos, Teurich Shabbos kann man Shoel sein. So, gibt us so. In Oivasis, you have this scenario. It got mixed together. Challah got mixed together, and the dough. Yeah, and it's Kyslo. So now we said, what's the solution? Be shoel on the neder, on the challah, and then you take challah again. So now it's Shabbos. May I make Torah Sidurim or not? It's not eaten yet. Nothing is eaten. Du kim auch da gelik zwischen der Schrole in Kyslo. In Kyslo, which the law is that you could be oichli mafresh, so you could make Shabbos. Is if you make a Torah challah Shabbos, yeah, you could eat a challah because it becomes everything table, and then the law is a match Shabbos. You leave over a piece and you take challah. Yeah, you could be oichel in mafresh achekach. So therefore, since you could do this. Kim Tosa the Chal is nicht muktzah, but meine kann man das essen, ist es, kannst du schon sagen, was in der Zeure Shabbos, you can eat in Shabbos. Maßnahmen, wenn kommt es jetzt Roll, in der Christoph haben wir eine Ruche, wenn Mafrisch, Oichel im Mafrisch, so therefore, if you're going to make a Teres and Durim in Shabbos, what good do you have? What good do you have? You can't nicht, misst jetzt machen eine neue frische Challah, a frische Challah in Shabbos kann man nicht. That's there's no heter. Shoyel zan you could in Shabbos instead of Shabbos. Machna frushes challah Shabbos. There's no way you could do in Shabbos. So therefore, if you're going to be shoyel now the challah, the frushes challah, and it's going to become table, what are you going to do with the challah? You cannot be mafresh challah. It's with also to eat. Hast du gemacht mit Saturus Naduram, shoyel instead Shabbos, but the can't go in Shabbos.
You still can't eat it because
you can eat it. Of course you can eat it. So therefore. I'm just saying that in Kyslo, if you didn't eat it, in Kyslo there's two minus. Chalas Kyslo. One, even if you ate, not on Shabbos, even if you ate already, you can still make it Torah Sidurim. Second kilo is that even in Shabbos you can make it Torah Sidurim because Lamaisa you could leave over and take Matzah Shabbos. And at Kyslo you have two problems. In the Wochen, during the weekdays, if it happens, and you ate it already a little bit of this, you cannot make Torah because then lemafrayu you ate them. If it's Shabbos and you didn't eat it, so then in Etzrul also you could be shoyl. In Etzrul you could also be shoyl if you didn't eat anything. But if it's Shabbos, you cannot make shoyl because then you cannot eat because you cannot be mafra Shabbos. But my name is Nisha Serech Shabbos. It's cute. Now again, I want to remind everybody, although in Etzrul is auch nor adraburan, because it has to be kolish ve'eleyu, but after Bekiram Chazal Gezuk, since in Etzrul it's a daraisa, so therefore in Machmat that it's yem chimras of chalas Etzrul. Chotchik son nor adraburan.
If you look at Chila, make an amount of dough that you take that precious challah, it's butter. It's enough to be butter.
Again, if you made,
if you take the challah that you take is less than 100 times,
and it got mixed together, then it's bottle.
so say people always take less than 100 times.
Yeah, but it's not practical. It's practical in the bagel bar. It's not practical in a person's house. 100 times, you know what it means? 100 times.
1 gram.
You have 100 kazaisim. You have 100 kazaisim in a who has 100 kazaisim? It's a lot. Now bakeries, what? Grandmother. Okay. Now, again, we mentioned that you only make a shala of challah only l'tzoyrich. Now, what happens if a person forgot to make a bracha? Yeah, he forgot to make a bracha. So now he did the mitzvah, and he cannot make a bracha. And we're going to see soon. After he made the mitzvah, he cannot make a bracha. So now he wants to be shoyel. In order, says Shmuel, but my can't make a bracha. Steigt over them in the achroinam. That's not a good reason. What? You could make. There are some poskim, but even if the poskim is hold that you could make, zug the mechasit you shouldn't do that because this goyim of bruch shlo tzricha because after the challah to get him. You did the mitzvah of challah. So to doing kedai to machen a bracha is zug der bruch shlo ein tzricha mamayle do man stehen. Aber bruch is nicht ma'akav the mitzvah shlugetin, so therefore you shouldn't do it. Even if according to the poskim we say that you should make a bracha, which a lot of poskim hold that you should make a bracha. But so for brachas we don't make a bracha. Now again, when it comes to be mater challah, you have to come yourself. Alocha is that always the person who made the neder, he has to come and be mater neder. Now, when your wife makes a neder, this is also kedai you should know because it happens also a lot. Usually she has to go for herself, but the husband could do that. Ishtiki gifu, in such a case, the husband could come. You don't have to have the wife should come before 3 people. It's enough that the husband comes. So therefore, when it comes to challah, it's also the same. She has to come, but again, the husband could come, and you cannot send a shliach that the shliach should be shoyl an challah. The noider atzma has to come with namatirim. But again, the husband is okay. There are some which said no. The Migdash Ma'at wants to say no. The wife herself has to come. And Baruch Hashem, that there are other points which say not like this because it makes it much easier. Okay. So what is the side of being mafresh challah? Okay. So the mitzvah is mitzvah lahafresh challah minu isa. The mitzvah is that you should take challah when it's still dough. Although, if you forgot to take when it's dough, you can still take when it's baked. And if you don't have the shear, only when it's baked, you do it like itchila. But when you have the shear, or then you should take challah when there is a isa. Now, mitzad atoira min atoira is once you pour in the water into the flour, that's already called a isa, and you can take challah. Even if it's still flour, that's already called isa, but the Rabbunan HaMagzuk, Chazal say that you shouldn't do it only Mishaz Gilgul. Mishaz Gilgul means once you mix it together, it gets connected together, that's called Gilgul, and only from then you should take challah. But Lamasa, Haluchadik, Kemafadem. And it is Asachmul, there are some ways and sometimes which we rely on this on those taking it when it's flour. The Gabagvis Zachem, which is the guy for bakers, whatever, it's the guy over here. But like Kitchila, you don't do it after, only if you don't have a choice. For instance, if you don't have a shear, only after, or you have as we mentioned with previous shiram, if you have a sponge cake or a marble cake, which is a belul rak, you cannot take normal, it's not that easy, then you take it afterwards. But clearly you should take it when it's Isa.
You're making two doughs. You know you're making two doughs. Each one is in that share we don't make with the brother. But after you're baking, you're going to put them all together. She'll do it afterwards.
Afterwards, this is what I just mentioned. Marble cake.
No, you're making two doughs which are
less than the shear.
Which are where you make it without a bracha.
Yeah, so you can do it. Oh, you mean if you add a yes? Because if you do without a bracha, the sufa cancels out. Why do you don't make a bracha? Because you didn't make it. You don't. It's bechir. So if you can take the mitzvah and have it afterwards with all the looks instead of sal, yes, you should do it afterwards in such a case and have it. And this is how we do pais of mamatzas. That's the reason why we do pais of mamatzas. But again, if you didn't do it when there is a dough, you can do it after it's baked. The mitzvah of challah is a mitzvah which is basically miyuchad beikar on the women. As I mentioned, the first shir, Yerushalmi says it clearly, Masechta Shabbos. Why? Because Adam Arishon was chalos shaloilam and Chava was goyrem that Adam should pass away, and therefore the mitzvah is given for like for the wife. What does that mean? So nicht the pshat that she's doing it b'shlechitis shel the man. It's her mitzvah. So if the husband decides I want to do it, he cannot. Also steht in Rav Osman, Shaykh Alavi, fina orzaria. It belongs to her. The mitzvah is her. I have a suffolk a little bit on this. That if it's not b'shlechitis, because the Alter Rebbe in Hillch's Neider Shabbos geht auch zi, Neider Shabbos geht auch zi, als he calls the Chalus Shaloil. One of the reasons he calls the Chalus. And over there, the Alter Rebbe shifts the Alter Rebbe clearly as the guy b'shlichus hambal. So even when it goes b'shlichus hambal, if the husband decides, I want to put on like Shabbos candles this week, and says to the wife, I'm sorry, this week I take it, Chazal haben vorweggestellt that she should take b'shlichus hambal, but she should take. So even in Chal is also. She can't say that she got yom tzlichus. Why am I stressing Rav Osman mashmenish tzlichus? Because if it goes with tzlichus, we're going into the problem when a shliach takes challah, who makes the bracha? Does the shliach make? Does the mashalayich make? It goes into an extra locha of the bracha. So Mamayla, the Chroinim zugen as lav dafka as in hinchas challah guy to see tzlichus. But ich track even in the Alter Rebbe, even the Alter Rebbe said that even though it's mitzvah is Chazal haben sich weggestellt, it's mitzvah and she makes the bracha. She makes the bracha. And in any case, it's kind of like yom in the lomdes mit shlichus, as wie bei Hilchos Chanukah. Aber Akapurim, the kid said the Burim is, if a husband decides one day I want to put on Shabbos candles, he cannot do it. It's her mitzvah. The same is also if a husband decides, you made a challah, I want to take challah. Sorry, it's her mitzvah. She wants to give you the schus, she can give you the schus. But it's her mitzvah.
If she's doing it, or if he's doing it also.
What do you mean? If he makes the dough, she's substantial. That's what the geld. Aber kapurim, she makes the dough. The berachas mitzvah is you have to make a bracha. We know halacha. Always berachas mitzvah. You have to make oivel lasiyusin. What does it mean oivel lasiyusin? Before you do the mitzvah. Always before you put on film, make the bracha. Then you tighten it. That's the mitzvah. Every mitzvah is oivel lasiyusin. That's the halacha. So therefore, when we make challah, we have to make the bracha oivel lasiyusin. Now, what is oivel lasiyusin? Now let me make a gdoma. So machlokes rishonim. If you have to be kvaya mukim lechallah. Again, I don't know how you do it, but everybody should ask the wives how they do it. But I'm gonna is menukim lekana lekan. In some of the machlokes, let me start. In some of the machlokes, if you have to make kriyas shem lechallah. Kriyas shem lechallah means after you took challah, you say harai zu challah. Not everybody does it. Some people do this. Some ladies do after they took of challah, they say harai zu challah. Some people do not say that. After challah, take off a piece and put it away. Now everybody should ask the wives how they do it. In whatever they do, some machlokes shoynim. In Lamas zug the chroinam, some machlokes azoi. The Yerushalmi zug you should tzurich likles l'shem. It's called kriyas shem. In Yerushalmi zugt as you should kriyas shem. You should say harai zu challah. And the same is the Shiltas, Parshas Saf, the Ramban, the Meiri, Some of the Rishonim say you have to say Arais Challah. The Rambam in Shulchan Aruch does not mention this halacha. You look at the Rambam, you kick in Shulchan Aruch, it doesn't mention such a thing. You don't have to say Arais Challah. The Marie Korkus of Platz, which I have a parish on Rambam, he wants to say that the Rambam didn't say bring this halacha because the Rambam holds by making a bracha shekidshunim says that is Kris Hashem. Kris Hashem, Lafash Challah. That's Kris Hashem. And then we have a Rishonim, which is then we have the Meiri in the base of the Sefta. That whatever you do is good. Whatever you do is good. You could say Arais Challah. You don't have to, but you could. This is Nagaya. This is Nagaya. Now, whatever you do, whatever your wives do, is fine. But there's a big Nagaya Lalucha Dizach. When we say that you have to make Challah over Lasiyusa, what is over Lasiyusa? When you say you have to be Kriyas Shem, means as long as you didn't say Arais Challah, that is the Hafrushas Challah, Arais Challah. So even if you took off the piece of Challah from the dough, and you realize, and you always say Arais Challah, so then you make Burach Hashem Lekal Mechoim Afrushas Challah, and you say Arais Challah, because the Afrushas Challah is the Arais Challah. The Kriya Shem makes the Challah. So the guy Ocht Alucha. Since you didn't say, as long as you didn't say Arais Challah, it's going to Challah. So if it fell into somewhere else, it got burned, got lost, no problem. It's not Challah. It's no problem. You didn't say Arais Challah. If you say you don't say Arais Challah, you don't make Kriya Shem on this Afrusha. So then, when is the Afrusha's Challah? When you take it off. So when you have to make the bracha, you have to make the bracha before you take it off. So the Arminugam, the people who say Arais Challah, there are some people in Ravos the Shrap, he holds as you do. You cut a piece of Challah, then it's a separate piece. You put it right next to the other Challah, you touch it, whatever, and then you make the bracha, and then you say Arais Challah, even though you took it off already. The people who don't say Arais Challah shouldn't take it off all the way. What do? They cut with a knife 3/4, like you do when you cut a challah during the weekdays. Shabbos you cannot do it because you have like a mishnah. You only make a simmer. But when it comes to doing the weekdays, you learn Hilchas Suda with Mendel, with the program, Sunday program. Is you cut 90% of the challah you cut, and then you make the bracha. It's still mechiber, it's still a shleima, but then you tear it off. Why you cut right away? But you don't want it to be a heftik between the bracha and the mais apila. So if you have cut, that's just a heftik. Shabbos you don't have option. Weeks they have option. You cut 90% or 75%, then you tear it off. So now let's go like this. If you say Arais Challah, it's not a problem. Take off the whole piece. I don't care. It's still not. You make the bracha then, and it's still over l'siyus because you didn't say Arais Challah. But the people who do not say Arais Challah, by the way, the Alter Rebbe does not mention in the Siddur, we don't see anything about Arais Challah. Well, let's just make it clear. In the Siddur, when it says the Hafrushas Challah, but the Brachas doesn't say such things as you should say Arais Challah. So according to us, that we don't say Arais Challah. Again, you could, but if you don't say. So in such a case, you cut 3/4, then you make the Bracha, and only then you schlep the thing with the right hand, and then you make the.
According to the thing that the Ram said you don't say Arais Challah because it's the bracha. I mean that if you have the shiur, you don't say the bracha. If you're separating Challah, that means you have to say Arais Challah because you weren't conditioned by the bracha.
Zayigit, yeah. So do auch eine von der Rishonim who want to say that the essence of taking off the Challah, that is the Kriya Shem. So in such a case, you still have this Nakida. The taking it off, that is also considered is a Rishonim also. But you brought up very nice.
You have all of them.
Yeah, exactly. And in such a case, Taki is actually Yokidai. But again, genemen with the andere Rishonim, we say as the Eitzim Aruknemen, that is basically the Kriya Shem. So therefore, it's also okay. But noch more, if you don't make a bracha, you don't have the problem with less use. So what do you care? What difference? Is it
now?
If you don't say Arais Challah, automatically once you take it off, that's Arais Challah. So you took it off. If you don't say Arais Challah, once you took it off, that's Challah. Of course, that's Challah. So again, however you do it, if your wife says Arais Challah, now in any case, you could do like I prefer you should do. You cut 90%, you make the bracha, because even if you say Reise Challah, it's still you made it even before. What do you say?
So you have to decide what.
Yeah, you should pick it up and or cut it off all the way, or cut it off 3/4. Yeah, you should do that. Yeah, and you should do it with right hand, because as the bracha stated, where you do the mitzvah, you do it with the right hand. Now again, you don't need. I want to mention this very clearly. There's a misconception. I don't know why. A lot of women cover the challah with a challah deckle before they take challah. They take challah, they cover it, and they take this way challah. There's no such halacha. There's no such look. You have to cover it. I think it comes because when you have tziruf, then you have to cover it. But when you have a shir challah, nowadays you have already. You could buy like challah covers. You could buy such a thing. You could buy it because again, if you panusa. So again, why do I'm saying it? Because in the women's Wednesday shir, there's a shir of women's Wednesday of Shabbos. So now they're also up to Felachas Challah, and which my wife is involved in that shir. She also gives over halachas, and she tells me that a couple of ladies said that. Of course, we cover it, and she comes home to me and asks me, I never heard such a thing. You have to cover it. I said, there's no such a thing. It is only if you want to make tziruf. Now again, if you want to cover it, it's fine. But there's no such a locha that you have to cover it, you know. The what? Okay. Now we know that the halacha is every bracha berachas mitzvah has to be me'umat. The mitzvah could be when you sit, but the bracha has to be me'umat. That is the halacha. But when it comes to challah, the halacha is you can make some machlokes apaskim. Some points can say that even challah also you have to stand when you make the first challah. But the Alter Rebbe Paskins brings it down in Arachaim Siman Ches. He Paskins like the Munga Avrom, but the Munga Avrom says by challah it is not that halacha, and you could sit while you make the bracha. Now a minute. While taking off is hakamodim, you don't have to stand, but by the bracha. But the Alter Rebbe says, like the Munga Avrom, you don't have to. Why? He has this question, why? And the Alter Rebbe gives explanation, because challah is the lotion is like this. Ein mitzvah kol kach. It's not such a big mitzvah only because so the Alter Rebbe helped when you do a mitzvah, taking a liluf, putting on tefillin, whatever, a mitzvah, then you have to make the bracha a mitzvah when you stand, because the bracha is a bracha kafah mitzvah. Over here, the mitzvah basically is you have to be masakin the macha. So it's not the mitzvah itself. It's not a mitzvah verstehen, wo das meint, aber so ist der Alter Rebbe. Ja, es ist mehr a Pilashur, ja. What?
There's enough nas if someone
takes the what? Takes the mitzvah? Das weiß ich nicht. Does it have to do with this? Yeah. Surah Zivim. But it's very interesting. There's a beferische Surah Zivim. If you take away a mitzvah, but the very interesting is it's a beferische Mishnah, like the Alter Rebbe. The Mishnah says, "Ha'isha yeshevas v'koitze chalusa." What is the halacha? The halacha is when you are urim, if you are uncovered, is an erva, you cannot make a bracha. So a man, if he's uncovered, he cannot make a bracha because he is erva. Women who sit, since when they sit, the erva is covered, so they say you can make a bracha. Shtayt klur, ha'ish yeshevas v'koitze chalusa. In the guy of the bracha, because the ikar kid is al the bracha, not al the afrushus challah. So we see automatically that you could sit. It's interesting, but other achronim, I don't know exactly what to answer. I didn't see how they should delve into this reason, but I can put in the Alter Rebbe, the Munga Avrom, which say that basically it is you have to sit. Then kemivn hamazak klura Mishnah. If your wife wants to sit dafka by Churus Skala, because some women b'shas Churus Skala just like this avoid this. They'll live in Babach Chsidam davening avoid this, but them it's a big deal, And so Akpunam, if she wants to sit, then she can sit.
It's a full different city by the count stuff in the...
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. But today's day there is like bar stools, you know.
Yeah, we also need to have the right, the concept goes in.
Okay. Let's just finish. Noch a punkt this. When a person is mafresh challah, the bracha is according to Haluchas Gedoyles, according to the Rambam, the Meiri, the Ramu, and our minig, which is in the Siddur, is Ashkedishur b'mitzvois v'tzivuni lahafrish challah. But there are a lot of other Rishonim, which is the Rash, the Rashba, the Orzaria, says the loch is lahafrish challah minu isa. Lahafrish challah minu isa. Machloikas, a Rishonim, if you have to say minu isa, and not have to say or b'chlal. In the Tirzuv says, because the longest Tirzuv in Hilchas Challah is this Tirzuv, and there's a big, it goes out a limbo against making minu isa. He says you shouldn't do minu isa. And ein tzich lehoisef, what? And he says, but you don't have to be mefaret, and therefore you shouldn't be mefaret. Now, where it comes, if people will say lav shalom and isa, when it comes to be mafresh challah after there is baked, which most of the poskim say is such a case, for sure you don't say min isa. It's not a isa. Or a matzah bakery, you say lav shalom min isa, you cannot say lav isa. It's already matzah, so you don't say min isa. But interesting, I saw Rav Oza's grandson writes that his Zayde had gesucht even when it was baked, l'hafresh challah min isa, and explained because the hafresh challah the chiyuv is min isa. So we say l'hafresh challah min isa, man, the mitzvah l'hafresh challah min isa. I'm just bringing it al tziyadiyah lamasa in our siddur is the lochish for l'hafresh challah. You could say min isa as if it's not like the Badisha Ruf, like the Badisha Ruf, the Heilige Badisha Ruf used to say. Allah Michid, Al Rebbe Pastins, you say Al Ur is Allah Michid. He doesn't say Allah Kakulu. So he used to say Allah Michid, Al Ur is Allah Michid, Allah Kakulu, Zug de Machit Nish Zug. So basically he said Allah Michid, Allah Kakulu, but he didn't say, he added on Zug de Machit not to say. So a person wants to say, Mina Isa, Nish Gefellach. Starting now is Shabbos Kodesh. We say Shabbos Kodesh, most of the world does not say, yeah. Shabbos V'Yontu, we take it out. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. You're right.
Everybody but religion, did they say Amen before you said go?
Okay. Good question. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Wait, when you say the Amen. Yeah. Now again, you should make another halacha. You should make sure that from you make the bracha till you be mafresh challah, you shouldn't have any dibur which is hot kashach with mafresh challah. Because if you mafresh between make a bracha in mafresh challah, you spoke automatisch as the glachte heftig bracha, and you got to make a bracha again. Wie the Alter Rebbe writes in Simmat Tufni Zayin. If you spoke a thing which doesn't have to, if you spoke because you give me the knife because I want to cut challah, it is. What? It's like, but yeah, the Alter Rebbe says because it's ochit lava. If you make a moish mech menorah and you add, you say give salt or give food for the animal. In the Baldur is a chaylik from the achila. It's not hefsek. But if it's not a chaylik from the achila, if you made the bracha and you're not the hefsek, so it is a problem. Wie it is on the guy stark. The guy stark usually you don't have this out because you make a bracha and you turn it off. Who's the guy? If a person has 2 doughs, yeah, he made a dough and he makes a bracha. And then he wants to take challah from a second dough, and the second dough does not necessarily have to be, it's done. Even if it's not done. If right afterwards you make this dough, you know you're going to make a new dough. So if he didn't talk, you don't make 2 brachas. Alter Rebbe says you do 1 bracha, and it's good for both. If you spoke, then where's the guy? In bakeries. It's the guy also at home when you want to make 2 doughs, but the bakery is constantly. The mashgiach kashas, usually the minig is the mashgiach kashas, he takes the challah. So if he makes the bracha, he doesn't make a bracha on every dough. He makes a bracha in the morning. And if he talks me'inya, shloim me'inya nachala, then it's a problem. But if he doesn't know shloim nachala, then even though the next dough is not made yet, it's going to be made an hour from now. It's going to be, constantly. Then it is. If you go out, it's no luchas of them, and that's when you be in mashgiach kashas, will give you exactly orders. But yeah, it's a tough job. Yeah. Now, and one more thing which is very important. I mentioned before the Kitsla. I mentioned before in Kitsla you could eat, and Motzei Shabbos if you forgot to take challah, you eat, and then Motzei Shabbos you take the challah. Now, do you make a bracha or not? Now, all the persons say you make a bracha except for Reb Shlomo Zalman. Shmi Shabbos Chusa brings down Shmi Shabbos Chusa Reb Shlomo Zalman that you said you don't make a bracha because it says when you make the bracha, when you take over the challah, Mr. Mafresh. And when you take it, then make a bracha b'lamatas. Kumas haposkem mikdash ma'at. That you make a bracha, and if happens such a thing, on Shabbos when you take a bracha. A few small tips. It is kedai once you took off the challah and you put it into the bag, wash your hands. Because sometimes some pieces of those stay in your hand, and then you're going to mix your cholent for Shabbos, or it might fall in a piece, and this is challah. This is a piece of challah, which is challah, and you might have a problem eating the cholent. What? The cholent is going to have a problem. The cholent is going to have a problem, because if a piece of challah, if a piece of what you took off, which everything is challah, a piece connects to your finger, and then it falls into food, it becomes osir. Again, it goes into this bottle by 101. But a component, wash your hands before you shouldn't have any problems. A person forgot to make the bracha. Yeah. If he forgot to make the bracha and he says Reis Challah, he took off the challah and he usually says Reis Challah, that's not a problem. Because as I mentioned before, what is the real of Rosh Challah? Rosh Challah is when you say Reis Challah, for the people who say Reis Challah. So you can make a bracha. But if a person forgot and didn't make a bracha and he said Reis Challah and then he didn't make a bracha, he lost the bracha. Then it's following the bracha. And also a person who doesn't say Reis Challah and he didn't make the bracha and he took off already, since he took over the mitzvah, you cannot make a bracha afterwards, and this is a clearly. No, if usually he says Reis Challah, and he didn't say Reis Challah, it's not Challah, it's not bracha. But if you say Reis Challah, now it became Challah, so now you can't make a bracha anymore. It's gone. And just finally, one thing which I want to ask these people ask me. People want to have a question. Should I have a small family? I cannot bake big, it should be mechiv b'challah. So I have two options. Or I want to bake every week, have fresh challah. Or I should bake once in 2 weeks, once in 3 weeks, put in the freezer, and have a shir challah. What is the question? It's not a question on taste. The question is, there's two reasons why you should bake challah Erev Shabbos. One reason you should bake challah Erev Shabbos is because you should have fresh challah Kuvot Shabbos. You should have fresh challah Kuvot Shabbos. The other reason is you should bake Erev Shabbos because he calls the Chalusa Shalom. Friday, Chava made that other Moshe should pass away. Yeah, so that was Friday. So therefore, you have to make Friday challah. And the chilik is of the two reasons. If the reason is because he calls the Chalusa Shalom, you should bake Dafka Friday, not Thursday. If the reason is you have fresh challah, if you bake Thursday, you have fresh challah, it's still fresh, 100% fresh, you don't have to freeze it, then it's also fine. So now, if you should bake challah every week, if the challah is, he calls Chalusa Shalom, you want to be masak in the chet, so then you have to make challah b'brocha. So then, if this is the reason, then you should bake challah once in 2 weeks, once in 3 weeks. It's not going to be every week so fresh. You don't have the other reason, which you have fresh challah on Shabbos. But at least you have the tikkun of chet eitzadas, and you did once a week. If you want to have the time of fresh challah, so then bake less than the shear every week. Zung da achroinam, iker hatam is because he calls the Chalusa Shalom. So if you have this dilemma, it is rather, the point practically is rather that you should bake once in 3 weeks, then and give challah with a bracha, then bake once a week and less than shichallah. Now, if you want to bake every week shichallah and give away for people's chaynam or the malat siblings, that's fine. But if you have, if you bake all of them, if you bake all again, if not, then yeah. But if not, rather that you should bake once in 3 weeks, then either you should bake that week. And the Irish helfen is, as he calls the Chalusa Shalom, the Tikki Chetreis is also schon hum Skaim geworden in so bisschen so gesagt, die Tikki nach Schleimes und am Schiff zu kennen meine Mama. There's noch a lot of lochas we should have done in Challah, but I wanted to cover things which is negaya. Stu noch negaya Easter shits from stu negaya Easter goyim. So a sacha luchas in negaya. Again, if you come across then you look up the Shulchan Aruch. But this is more or less, these 5 shiurim more or less are, which has to do with us, which is practical. I just wanted to know this. Yois and Masha Kusuf kan, yesh b'Shulchan Aruch.